What's happening, everybody? I'm glad you could all be here tonight. I am Famine from Famine Studios, and we are working on our sci-fi saloon. So what I'm doing now, because this is part 6, we've been through this, I'm going to start blocking in my colors for this. We're not going to worry about the base. The base is going to be its whole own thing, but I've got an idea of how I want this to look. Yeah, that was scary. That was myself. So first things first, let's get some paint. Let's get ready to do some painting. How is everyone tonight? That's an important question. I want to know what you're doing, what you're up to. Anybody else working on any projects? Red, hello. Glad you can make it. I know you've been traveling and very busy bee. So it is awesome that you are here, my friend. Got my brushes I've been painting with. Some clean water. All right. So I want to start by blocking in. We're going to work on, let's take care of the wood first, because that's a multicolored process here. So because it's a limited, and I say limited, it's a smaller space of what we're going to be painting. We'll start off with some burnt umber for our wood. And that is Liquitex Basics student. It's like a student acrylic type paint, but it's very pigment heavy, which I appreciate. And we're going to get going on this. All right, let's see. Home this weekend, but family from out of town. Last minute choring. Yeah, I don't do the family coming from out of town thing. They gotta stay out of town at that point. They left town. They're gone. So let me get some tunes going here, because morbidly quiet. We don't want too quiet, you know. So let's go ahead to that. Cool. So just prefacing this may be a shorter than normal stream for a Friday night. And get the jokes out now while you can, on account of my wrist hurting me. I did a lot of typing today for work, and then I also went out immediately after work and did some lawn work, trimming up a bunch of tree or vines or whatever you want to call them in front of my house. So yeah, I'm feeling it. But I know I wanted to get some work done on this, and I wanted to stream with you guys, see my friends. So here we are. We're doing it. We're doing it live. And let me know if that music is too loud. And so if you guys know me and you've seen my videos on the channel, you know my favorite kind of like especially large scale painting method is to block in colors first, your major colors, and then work on details, washes, dry brushing like that. So we're going to be doing a lot of color blocking tonight. If we get to dry brushing, that'll be great. Too much whacking. Yeah, whacking my paint brushes after I clean them to make sure that they are paint empty. Gosh. Here we are. And we got Audi. Kids and I are having game night, keeping famine on the big screen. Appreciate it. I'll watch my mouth as best I can. Stay the pink. I don't know that one. I don't know what that reference is from. Okay, so we've got the wood painted with our first color blocks of the brown. So we're going to move on while that starts to dry. For the stone tiles on the side, while they are similar in effect to the background, I want to go ahead and use a different color, almost like I want to do some grays, so maybe they're like concrete blocks instead of just our traditional sandy browns and like actual brick color terracotta looking. So we'll do a couple of grays on there. For starters, we'll shake up some pewter gray from Apple Barrel. The Warhammer guys call painting mini stain the gray. Pink foam, stay the pink. Plus the other entendre. Oh, okay, I get you. Now, I guess. Yes. So we've got that gray there. I'm just cleaning my brush out. And like I said, we're just kind of blocking in color at this point. And this is probably going to take a few coats, this gray, just because that's the one. If I were to give, I guess, Apple Barrel any criticism for their paints, because for the value and how much you get in each container, it's pretty remarkable, is I would just add more pigment to their paint. That's what I would recommend. It's just like, please put some more pigment in there. Your paints, and I get the market, you know, people buy the paint because they like it, and then they buy multiples because, you know, it's good paint and they're happy and familiar with it. But man, I feel like this paint would be so much more of a value, even if it went up by 50 cents, if you added more pigment to it, because hot damn. But, you know, they didn't ask old famine. That's just me throwing it out there to the universe. Get some more pigments in these bad boys. So what I'll do is I'll block this side in. I'll switch the other side. And then with how fast this matte gray dries, I'll be able to jump over here and put a second little coat on here just to make it, you know, a nice even gray before we start doing layering on it. So again, we are just currently blocking in color. Especially the neon pink. I feel like you guys are, I get what you're saying, but I also feel like you might be having a separate conversation than I am. I'm just lost. I'm scared. It's Friday. I feel like I'm at the club with all this music playing. I don't know. Earlier, that famine guy was talking about a pink pony club. There was a dog in the video. How about tonight's guest on World Makers Consortium, eh? Abby was a treat to have on the show. I'd like to have Abby on the show again and talk more about painting, and especially painting head sculpts. It was cool to get, you know, a peek into the lore that Abby's got going for their world, and the Beast of the Mesozoic world that she's building, and also like the choices that she makes on things that she repaints and why she customizes them a certain way. So that was really fascinating. So that was a great show. If you haven't checked it out, catch the replay, World Makers Consortium, over on Rad Toys channel, Rad Toys Galaxy. Neon pigment. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I feel like the neon paint, you have to add like 10 layers, but also I found it does help if you undercoat with whatever color that is. Like say it's a neon pink. Put a flamingo pink underneath it first or an orange, and then start hitting it with the neons, and it stands out way more. That's just a tip. That one's free. Oh, man. And so, like I said, I'm adding a second coat of this gray here, and it immediately looks better. I'll tilt it towards the camera a little bit more. But see how like that immediately, yeah, looks infinitely better with that second set of brush strokes over top of it. And once we get all these colors blocked in majorly and stuff, that's when we'll start doing our dry brush, our detailing, things of that nature. Mixing up the very same paint, especially for these bricks, with just a little bit more of a darker or a lighter color to add some contrast, like say the mixing of the concrete or whatever these materials are, or, you know, just straight up slate, stone or whatnot, was maybe one batch had a little more pigment in it than the other batch did. Natural variation that you see in bricks, like if you go and look at bricks and cinder blocks and stuff and really look at them, yeah, they're all similar and they're all that same base color, but some of them are darker, some of them are lighter. You know, some of them could have been in a yard, sun bleached for much longer, you know, sitting on a shelf protected in a hardware store versus the ones that are out on the, you know, out in the parking lot for easy loading into trucks and things. There's a lot of variation and stuff. So you always look around for that, especially if you're going to, you know, bring realism to your world. And not everything has to be realistic. That's another thing that I like to remind myself is it doesn't need to be realistic. I just want it to be realistic. So I go out of my way for certain things like that. And it's going to be variations in colorways, things of that nature. So like there's those versus these, which you can still kind of see the black through. And I you know, you guys are talking about Abby subscribing and whatnot. Yeah, she follows my page, which is awesome. But one of the things that I appreciate is how different of an approach we take to our dinosaurs. And I think that's really cool that there are people like, because those, let's be honest, those pieces of the Mesozoic are not cheap. They're not cheap toys. And then to go out of your way to like customize them and put all that love and care into those, it's freaking awesome. So kudos to Abby for that. We are slapping some paint on this thing. I just feel like the music's too loud. And anybody who does want to further support the channel, if you like what I'm doing or like, you know, the conversation, the community that we have, patreon.com/Famine Studios. You can get shirts, stickers. I think there's like freaking pillows over there on tpublic.com/Famine Studios X. Same with the Patreon, Famine Studios X. You can also check out my girlfriend's TeePublic store. She's got all kinds of fun retro designs on there. And then her handle is Next Gen Banner, so go check those out as well. And then I do want to thank my patrons, as always. Fat Red, he's a patron. We got Outer Multiverse, also a patron. Lord of Thane, Toy Domination, Triple D Outpost, and Mickey. You guys definitely help keep the lights on this channel, so much appreciated for that, my friends. Now, this is where the fun begins, right? Isn't that what Anakin said? We're going to be doing the bricks. Actually, let's do the bricks. I want the bricks to be lighter, almost like they're heavily whitewashed to be more ornate. Because if you look at the merchandising, head sculpts, I want the bricks to be lighter, like close to white, compared to the bricks that we use for everything else. The design that I've kind of been going with the terracotta colors and things like that. I want to move away from that for the front and little side strips here, because I almost want this to feel like a true desert saloon. And a lot of those buildings are painted really light colors because it gets hot in the desert. So I want to do that, and then we'll add like a traditional set of like Star Wars, that pinstriping that a lot of the buildings have. I really love that, and just take it from there. So I think we're gonna put down. Let's see here. That's plain white. There we go. We've got a linen here that I like. And I want to do some linen as the base. And then I quite literally have a whitewash. It's from Deco Art, which I believe is another plaid company. No, that is it? I think Deco Art's plaid. Anyway, Deco Art vintage wash effect, but I want to get in there with this linen. We will use a little bit of terracotta because, again, a lot of the dust in the area is terracotta. So we'll put that closer to the bottom just as like a little color pop and a visual tie-in to remind you. Hey, Jess, how's it going tonight? So let's get this terracotta shaken up. Of course, I'm using my bad wrist. There we go. Let me tell you, kids, if you ever, oh, she's a squirter. If you ever work in a factory and you're working, 14, 12, 10-hour shifts, and they tell you, hey, all this equipment that you guys are using is ergonomic. Take the time and read the description on those things, because it says it's ergonomic for up to 4 hours of continuous use. Do not exceed, blah, blah, blah. And see, they don't tell you that when you're working, because they want you to just continue working. So just be aware of that, because that'll fuck your wrists up years down the line. Okay. And this is technically what I'm doing here is almost a dry brush. It's more like a heavy brush. I don't know what the word, a wet brush, maybe. I don't like that phrase either. That sounds like something you pay for at a nightclub in Germany. Und wet brush? Yeah. Yeah. Und the safe word is? What do you mean safe word? Bite down on the leather. Uh-oh. But yeah, I like that already. I like that, how that pops against the wood. That means two things. But yeah, I'm not letting the paint soak down too much in between, because we will use a little bit of spackle to make like a, grout mortar between these bricks later, which will add its own layer of intricacy and color into that little gap that's down there. Or maybe we won't. I don't know yet. But that's kind of the idea that's popping in my head as far as that goes. So, as I said, I don't want to go too crazy with pushing the paint down into the cracks. We kind of just want to let the wet brush do its job and pick out the details and the high spots. And because we remember when we did this, we rolled aluminum foil all over it. So that creates that texture that's just very much brick-like. So there's all these nice recesses that create shadows and pits. And man, does that make that look much cooler. Makes it look like real brick. Makes it look like it's got grime built up in those sections from acid rain. Not the toy line. Could be. And if we get any on these pieces of like detail that I put on here, that's fine, because they are going to have some level of a lighter color to them. So I'm not terribly worried. Pizza Dude's got 30 minutes. I have a t-shirt that's got that scene on it somewhere. And it was made by a t-shirt company that's local here that I really like, called Surrounded by Tees, Tees. And he just basically produces a shirt or two every once in a while, does them at conventions and whatnot, and then vanishes for 6, 8, 10 months. So, yeah. So if you ever want to get a t-shirt from Surrounded by Tees on Instagram, you put in your order with them, and if you need somebody to pick it up because you're not local, you holler at your boy Famine. There you go. That's my little community commerce for the day. And it's funny, you know what the white brick kind of reminds me of is like how some of those pizza places after the 80s, when everything had the brick in the Italian places, they were like, oh, let's change it up. Let's make it a little more classy, in air quotes. And they came in and like painted white over all the bricks inside the buildings. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Not in a bad way. Just that funny memory of places that used to do that. Awful things for a pizza. Oh, I wish you would never say that you would eat a Domino's. And it's okay if some of the bricks look more white or less white than the others, because that's natural variety, and we want that. We want it to look, I want it to look like it's, realistic. So some of these bricks are going to be different shades, different colors, different pigmentation underneath them. And it adds to the realism, I think. Especially if we start hitting this with like washes and pigment powders. It's Pizza Slut specifically. You got to listen to Pizza Butt by MC Chris if you haven't already. I got that jam. That jam will make you go to work. Work, work. Yeah, work. That pizza butt. My favorite line in that whole song is, "It's a pie chart that you can eat. It's a hot deal that can't be beat." Because pizza is a pie chart that you can eat. Couple of cat hairs on there. I think a certain snowflake because she was up there bouncing around earlier. There's a lot wrong with Domino's, Bjorn. See, there's some New Yorkers in here that'll tell you that there's no pizza like a New York pizza, and that's true because, we make the best pizza in the world. And Domino's is like I don't know. Bjorn, who's your favorite pretty actress that you like? If you could date her or take her out, that's who you would go with. Who is that actress? All right, so imagine Kate Beckinsale is a New York pizza, right? Just the best of the best. I would be Domino's. All right. I am nowhere near a Kate Beckinsale, and neither is Domino's in comparison to an actual good New York pizza. And like, I'll indulge in some crappy pizza from time to time. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's been plenty of time where old Famines had like Little Caesars and stuff, but Domino's is just hot trash, man. You and Kate Beckinsale have the same birthday. That's pretty cool. I think the Olsen twins and I share the same birthday, if my memory serves me correct. I learned that in a Disney magazine ages ago. So whether or not that's accurate, couldn't tell you. I'm actually really liking the look of this. It's almost like it's a black and white. Well, it's close to white, but like almost like it looks like a Eastman and Laird Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle drawing. Does that make sense? That's got to make sense to somebody in the chat. Grew up in the Lower East Side. And can I like deliver a fucking pizza to your house sometime soon, please? Because I'm gonna. That is the saddest shit I've ever heard. I'll kiss you on the mouth. I'll kiss you on the mouth for some Domino's. Okay. So that's a pretty good first pass on that. I want to let that dry a little bit. So let's block in these greeblies, I think. And then we'll block in the iron metal strips and the door frames, and then we'll go back and start picking out. Actually, you know what we'll do right now? Pepperoni and pineapple. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that next week. Good ham and pineapple. My like, if somebody called up and said, "Hey, Famine, pick your favorite pizza," I would do pepperoni, pineapple, fresh chopped garlic, and fresh chopped onion on the pie. It's very aromatic, obviously, because the garlic and onion. But man, when you put all those together, forget about it. Jess, are you all done with work tonight, or are you just hanging out? Ah. Yeah, no, I feel like I'm going to, though. And I'm getting this base color on here. because as I pick out these pieces a little later, I can't remember what these goddamn things are called. And I used to know, it was in my head earlier today and I said it out loud, but anyway, the reason I'm getting these the same color is because when we start doing washes and stuff and things start to blend, and we'll start adding other bits and pieces, but I want it to look like, again, it's done some of the same way, it's been treated some of the same way, but the pieces are maybe different material and whatnot. And I think it'll look pretty cool when I'm done, what I've got in my mind's eye. Now you want a pizza? You want a slice of pizza? Jess and I have bonded over eating many a pizza. I had I think I had pizza bites for dinner, actually. Did I have that for dinner? I can't remember. But yeah, like I said, I did some yard work today, and my wrist is in turn sore, and also because, working with, quote, ergonomic tools for 8, 10, 14 hours. Sometimes I work double shifts. I think I only worked a handful of double shifts there, but using those tools, they're not ergonomic. Pizza bites, and you're shitting on me. Taking Domino's once in a while. Yeah. You had your hair all up in that pasta dish. Hey man, I never said I wasn't trashy, but I also know that pizza bites are better than fucking Domino's. As I said, even Little Sneezers is better than Domino's. I wish my buddy Travis was here. I go to Austin because Travis and I are going to we're going to WrestleMania, and I get to Austin, regular size purple lightsaber. I get to Austin, Texas to spend a couple of days at his place, and see the sights. And we're both tired. He worked that day, picked me up at the airport. I flew, and he's like, "Oh, what do you want to do for dinner?" I was like, "Dinner's on me. Let's what do you got for a local pizza joint?" And this dude's like, "Oh, we got a Papa John's, we got a Domino's," and I'm like, "No, like a local pizza joint." And he's like, "No, that's what we got for pizza around here." I was so goddamn disappointed. I felt so bad for him that when he came to New York for work, when he was down in the city, Kenny and I drove down, met up with him, and we took him out for pizza to make sure that he had a proper New York pizza. We went to the restaurants where Peter Parker worked in not the Amazing Spider-Man, but in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, which is the best pizza in New York. I personally think that is my go-to New York City pie. I generally will go there and get a pie to take home. Yeah, love that place. Joe's is the name. So if you're ever in the New York City area, Manhattan area, go down to the financial district, scoot up a little bit, hit them up. And they take cash only, but there is an ATM outside. So, and they own the ATM. That's a smart grift. Not gonna lie to you. I hate ATM fees, but I can't knock them for, for being smart about that. I read that as Pope Louis, Bjorn. I sat here trying to think, like, were any of the popes Italian enough to, like, mention pizza? We're over here eating pizza at Pope Louis V's fucking pizza chain. Pizza. Dude, literally any hole in the wall joint south of St. Mark's. Oh, sure, for sure. I've just got such a fucking, just that pizza. I get a pepperoni pie and it's, $21 for the whole pie. And I walk out of there just the happiest fucking person. It feeds everybody in the car because it's usually me, Kenny, and Jason. And then I've got a couple of slices to take home. Or if it's just me and Kenny, we'll eat a couple of slices and I'll take the rest home, share it with Graham, and have a couple leftover slices. Okay. And I like that as this is starting to dry, it's letting some more of those shadows stand out. It was very funny because the first time Travis was in New York, I was unable to get down there. And he wound up going to fucking Pizzeria Uno in Times Square. And I was genuinely mad at him as a human being. Like, why would you go to Pizzeria Uno in Times fucking Square, walk a block over and go to the Bucca Slice stand go to the Bucca Slice stand at the right next to the Port Authority. That is the best dollar slice I've ever had. And it's not fucking Pizza Uno. Like, it's a slice of pizza big enough to fold in half for $1. Okay. I mean, I guess since we got the paint out and the paint's starting to dry up here, we'll just hit this again one more time. Because I want that nice contrast. I want that to pop. And I do want some of these bricks to be more painted, more whitened than the other ones. And then we'll do the pipe. And that, I want the same color. And then we'll go from there on the other greeblies and give this a chance to dry up a little bit more. Okay. Pies are fucking right size, not 16. Yeah, 16 is large. No, that's a small. Ninja Turtles. Maybe we'll have to do a close friends and patron group watch of TMNT sometime. Let's paint our pipe. We are going to go with a plate mail metal for the main shaft. You can tell I'm in my 30s because I keep thinking that the fucking music's too loud. I'm not at a concert. The music doesn't need to be that loud. This isn't a nightclub in Malta. Why is it so loud in here? Okay, so I think there's water in this brush. There is. There's too much water in that brush. That's my fault. I'm like watching the paint go on, but the pigment was kind of swirling around again, as though there was water in there. So pay attention. How much water is in this brush? Or how badly did I stir this paint? That's another question. That's other Famine's fault. Right? That's second coat Famine's fault. $40. 3 weeks from 40. Do you complain that the music is too loud when you're not at a concert like I just did? Like, I love loud music in my car and stuff, but if I'm having conversation, even if I'm the only one talking, I don't know if it's an overstimulation thing or whatever, but I'm like, music doesn't need to be that loud while I'm talking. I never thought I would get to the point where I have to turn the music down to see better when I'm like arriving somewhere. I used to make fun of my little sister for doing that, and now I do it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, what have I become? Yeah, that's what I thought. But I mean, otherwise, everything still works. I've got my hands. My hands still work for the most part. My downstairs mix-up still works, so that's good. My heart health's a little better. My blood pressure's better. And I'll give bonus points to anybody who understands the downstairs mix-up reference and where that's from. Because I feel like if I do the voice that accompanies that statement, it'll be a dead giveaway. So we got the pipe. I actually can see. Oh, you sneaky little bastard. Have to hit a drop of super glue on there. I did get the crud out of my arms. The monsters that were my homunculus that was growing in my arms. Although there's another one that they didn't take out. I'm not quite sure why. I wonder if just they were at the point where they had taken so many out and saw that they weren't the C word. Or like, they were pretty confident it wasn't the C word, so they left it in. But I was poking at it the other day and I'm kind of annoyed. But it doesn't hurt like the other ones did, so that's good. You've seen my downstairs mix up. I'm 45 and wine glass. All right, so let's see here. Starting to look like something. And now we're going to apply the same color to this piece down here. This is going to be multi-layered with multiple metal paints. And I'm sorry that I've got it tilted towards myself, but I because there's so many like openings and shadows and valleys that I need to fill, giggity, I just kind of need to tilt it and catch the light and see where my my tip goes. Make sure that it's in the right spot. Because this is going to get multiple coats and washes and things like that. What is it? I don't know, but I just have to, like, that's my thought, is that that needs to be very metallic and very, very coated with these different colors of metal. Maybe I'll even do some heat scoring on it. Maybe it's some sort of heat sink. I don't know. Okay. So let's pick out that. Let's see. I want this. I know I want it to look like one of those restaurant like exhaust fans almost that's on the side of the restaurant, except it's the front. So we'll start with gunmetal, and then we'll take this piece that's like a bottle cap and make sure that we hit that with shining silver, and then we could just ouch. Bjorn, I won't do any blaster bolts or anything until like the very end if I do. You know, this is a pretty classy establishment. Blaster fire only happens outside, so. And for this, I'm just letting the brush walk down to the edge. And then as soon as I see that dark line where it makes contact, I'm just pulling the brush up away from that edge. And that's a good way of getting like pretty clean lines when you're up against a hard surface like that. I don't know how many people that'll help with their painting, because I know not everybody paints the same style in the same way, but this is how Famine does it. The tip is a lie. It says you. All right. I'm happy with how that side looks. I'll just pull up some of this paint here, this gunmetal, into those little gaps and grooves that are there on the bottle cap. So when I go over this with the silver, I'll stick the silver only on the high points there, and it'll create a kind of almost like an intentional separation. So it looks like maybe there's another metal going on underneath it, that this thing's a fan of some sort, or like an exhaust of some sort and such. Some sort and such. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine with the gunmetal. I'm just trying to think if there's anywhere else. Yeah, let me use the gunmetal on the brackets here, the attached brackets, just for a little bit of metallic differentiation. That's fun. That's fun to say. Metallic differentiation. Almost sounds like a real thing, doesn't it? Okay. All right, so next we're going to do that band of material on the bottom. Let's go with copper. Fuck it, why not? Do I have any brass? I think I have brass, right? Bronze. Yeah, we'll do bronze instead. Roasties. I was going to say Chicago-based, Chicago-style pizza is, I think only people from Chicago should be allowed to eat that, and like, I don't know, Al-Qaeda. Because that stuff is not fit for human consumption. It's a casserole, not a pizza. Stop calling everything a fucking your style pizza, Rhode Island, with your cheese on bread. That's not pizza. That's just fucking cheese on bread. Connecticut. Oh, we have Connecticut style pizza. It's wood fired. No, you didn't invent that. It's just literally cooking pizza with fire. And also, for somebody who cooks their pizza with fire, why is your pizza so goddamn soggy and wet every time we've had it? Now you got me fired up. This paint, I think, is expired. Not gonna lie to you. I think that's the first time this has ever happened. Honestly, babe, this has never happened to me before. I think this paint is expired, but we're gonna try it. Worst case scenario is I can always go and top it off with another color paint if it's not fucking terribly expired. But goddamn, that's not good at all. Huh. Try our deep dish pizza. No, it's fucking you put tomato sauce in a bread bowl on top of your cheese, and we're like, we're unique. You need silverware to eat this dish, and you feel logy for the rest of the year. It's pizza. No, it's not. You should be able to get the itis from eating pizza, but it should not be a requirement of your fucking practice. We're Pennsylvania. We've got our own style where it's just fucking squares of cheese and Kraft cheese on top of a regular square slice of pizza. That's how we do it around here. You should be banned from having a pizza oven. That's what I think. God, I hope so. but usually I don't hear the music. I'm more listening to the talent talk about how they got themselves into that predicament, and then watch the video for research, you know. Although, like, I'm pretty sure that this track's on right now has absolutely been in like a Cinemax movie. Yeah, Bjorn, it's worse than fucking. It is worse than Domino's. Yeah, I want to build one of those. Build a brick pizza oven in the backyard. Eventually, I have plans for a couple of different ones. And my ground in the house or outside of the house is essentially solid clay for a couple of feet. So, in theory, I could pull and process my own clay. I'm going to pull my clay, pull and process my own clay here in the yard, and make it out of backyard clay and bricks, obviously. Okay. So now we've got some colors going here. Pretty sure that paint I just used is expired. It's a good time. Okay. All right. So let's, like I said, Shining Silver is going to be next on this, and I'm going to hit some of these high points with it. Stop shaking it with your bad wrist, Famine. Does it have that paint funk? It kind of did, but at the same time, no. Which is why I was confused. But it was just the texture and the way the paint was going on. Like, I know a lot of these lower value pigmented paints have that kind of weird, you got to put on 15 coats. But it just seemed like it was separating in a strange way, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it, no sir. I says to myself, I says, do you like this, Famine? And myself says, no, I don't like it. So then I says to myself, I says, what then, Famine? And I said, we just keep on keeping on. Sometimes you don't like it. Give that a little stipple. Give it a little texture. Cool. Cool. All right, let's get these some solid color on there. I need to look at this head on, so you're going to have to stare at the top of it for a second. Green. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. You fucking move. Sorry. I guess we'll start with moldy clothes first. Banjo plays. Bjorn lives in hell. Nobody makes calzone. Bjorn, we're going to send a UFO to come extract you. You know what it is? I'm just realizing what I didn't do and why this paint is going on all sorts of funny, guys. So I did everything in a top coat of that black craft paint and Mod Podge. However, I never went back over it with black craft paint to give it all a texture, a similar texture. So I think that's what's going on now. So once this paint starts to dry, I'll be able to go over things and have a better time getting the paint to adhere. But that just clicked in my head as I was putting this green on. I'm like, there's no reason this should be right. Because you did that thing, Famine. Good job, Famine. My fucking wrist is starting to hurt me even more. But I've kind of committed to blocking in all my fucking colors. Yeah, that's absolutely what's going on here. But at least now I know. So let's let this dry a little bit. On there, on the plasticky parts. Real quick, I guess I should do this too, since these will be a similar material. Let's get some paint on these bad boys. Boy, I am making all the rookie mistakes tonight. You can tell it's an off night here at Famine Studios. Our artist in residence normally doesn't make these amateur decisions, but you can see the injury is affecting him in ways that nobody can anticipate, not even him. This is the first time career injury as far as painting goes, and looking at the way he's working through it, he's chosen a bold strategy to move in large swaths of material in order to hide his inadequacies, but instead what he's doing is pointing them out to the audience. He's even narrating it on his own. Wait, you mean this isn't two people in a booth? No, it's not. It's just Famine yammering on. Live from behind the camera, back to you. Oh, Defiant, what's happening, man? Oh. Ambidextrous. Oof. Oh, that's a good green that we went with. That's the green we're starting off with, that's for sure. I don't think I like that. We'll see. There's time for it to grow on me like a fungus. Soundtrack sounds like there's a parakeet trapped in a jar somewhere that's trying to get out. Like a whale trapped in a jar somewhere. That's more or less what I'm looking for here. Those are little mistakes that we can fix later. Who's sending pics to who? Somebody better send me some pics. You know, I almost just sat here and said, man, I wish I was ambidextrous while painting, but I also don't want to learn. I don't want to commit to using an entire different limb in order to do my hobby. But at the same time, what happens if a shark gets a hold of my limb, or a bear, or, you know, something equally as outlandish? Perhaps a bad kayaking accident where not only do I lose all my guns like Burt Reynolds in Deliverance, but also, you know, I lose a hand. Like, I don't know. What's something that somebody lost a hand in? Furiosa. Captain Hook. All of Star Wars. Fair. That's fair. Yeah, like that farm kid, that Luke Skywalker. What a total Mary Sue. Oh, you're a farmer, you never leave home, and all of a sudden it turns out that you're you know, this great son of a space fighter from something called the Clone Wars. Oh, and all of a sudden he knows how to use this weapon enough to like swing it around. Get out of here. And, you know, he's worked on a farm, but suddenly he's good enough in shooting combat to take down the Imperial officers and stormtroopers. And also he can just grappling hook and swing across things while getting the girl. Get out of here. Unrealistic. Totally not cool. Very, very romantic, boys. Swapping pictures. Oh, they're swapping pictures. Mm-hmm. Swanging. Okay. Cool. So let's we'll do a couple more colors. I actually think we'll use this to kind of pick up some of the lines on the tree, the wood. But then you'll see what I'm going to do. And I go horizontally first, or excuse me, vertical first to pick out the striations, and then I go horizontally. I just totally stuck my fingers in that paint. See how the lines are starting to pop out that I put in the foam? We're going to come over that with a couple of different browns in a bit. Not Cleveland brown. Oh, that's too much. Whoops. That's all right. We'll fix it in post. Okay. That way. All right, we can fix that. We can fix it as a team. Oh, damn it, Bobby. If you weren't my son, I'd hug you. Really could fall asleep to this. Oh, you don't want to fall asleep to me. You want to be kept up all night. Ugh. I just stuck my fingies in the wrong color. I didn't want to stick my fingies in there. That's uncomfortable. So now we've got some raw sienna. Right. Nope, saddle brown. My fault. Saddle brown, Vallejo. And we're going to fix that ugly mistake. Well, we're going to try and fix some of these ugly mistakes I made. Just go across and hit that. Pick out some of the high points. And we're going right over the white, or the linen, I should say. And that allows for the dark to pick some of this up and have a darker shadow, but the white to have this saddle brown on it. And it'll appear lighter, like there's a different color in the wood. It's a process, kids. It's a process. See what I mean? Starting to look like something. Oh, okay, promo. Yeah, that one killed me every time. I did not have sex with that woman. I did not sleep with her. We were up all night. No. That's right. Once again, we can fix it in post. Cool. Famine, stop grabbing that wet paint. I know, self. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. All right. That brown's taken care of. Charles, what about Famines? Stream in particular, just shellcraft with friends. That's us. That's me. We're friends. I like to chill with my friends. That's too close to blue. Guess we'll try another coating of this smoke now. Oh, that's an entirely different. Yeah, that'll work. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Yeah, I like that much better. Let's do. I recognize you guys can't see what I'm doing here. I apologize for that. Cool. Okay, that's much better. I like that a lot better. That color green suits this a bit. Oh. I don't know what I'm going through. Oof. Let me put just do something real quick. We mix up a color. I want it to stand out, but I don't want it to be too stand out. That makes sense, fam. And say that again out loud. See how many people fucking think you're bananas. Gross. Yeah. We'll use the cheaper stuff instead of that. Oh, mix it up. Mix it up, kids. Are we all going to make out now? that what's going on? That's the color we're going for. Something a little nicer, a little lighter, not too light, and not so close to the white that we got going on here. So we're gonna go. I don't know if any of you can hear the dog snoring, but it's very cute. Okay. And I have this flipped upside down so you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just getting the underside of the archways, blocking in this, very tan color that I've made. And we just need to get underneath that archway in order to put the paint on there. So we've got full coverage for when we come back and start doing dry brushing and shit a little bit later in another episode. So got something like that going on here. Like I said, I want to get my primary main colors blocked in. Paint, 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 paint. Paint your archway. Paint your archway. It's kind of like Shake Your Booty, but it's a song about painting your archway. Paint, 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 paint. Paint your archway. Starting to look like something, kids. And my wrist is screaming for some relief, so as soon as this section's blocked in, your old boy's gonna call it. And again, this will all be getting several coats of paint and stuff. So while it looks kind of patchy, not even patchy, that's not the word I want to use. Well, it looks very, very basic. As we get further along in the paint job, anybody here who's watched the Famine painting tutorial, or any of my live streams where I paint something, I like to layer my paint on. I like to sneak up on things. Having a nice base color and a nice layer of base paint allows for me to build up to what I want, to sneak up on it in certain cases where I want the color to stand out against something, but I need to build up that thing that I want to stand against. It's a process, so there will be plenty of live streams more attached to this particular project. So don't fret, especially if you're like, man, I really like this saloon thing. I hope it never ends. Guess what? No, I'm kidding. It will end, but not anytime soon. I think we'll have this finished before Christmas. I think this will be done before baby Jesus has his birthday party. But who knows? I could get real intricate with it and really drag it out. And I don't know if this project is doing as well as some of my other ones, but man, I'm enjoying the process with it. So, but there we go. In the meantime, and between time, you can use Mod Podge to seal things. That is correct, sir. But I am going to call it now. I hope you guys all have an excellent weekend. It's been a pleasure. Again, if you want to support the channel on Patreon, you're more than welcome. Patreon.com/FamineStudiosX. Also on TeePublic, Famine Studios X, Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/Famine Studios X. If you want to donate, check me out on Instagram, Famine Studios X. Otherwise, I hope you guys have an excellent day. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Like the video. Be well. And if you're watching in the replays, drop some comments down there. Let's have a conversation. Be well, guys. Too sweet me. Oh, I got to too sweet the camera, and I don't know how to. My Spider-Man, my wrist hurts. There we go. Boom. I don't know how to log out on this. End stream. There's the button. Okay. Yes. End stream.